Greetings. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks, Sr., your host, and this is Community Focus. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking with Dr. Richard Keller, Director of Education, State Career College, and he is a person that you should know. Good morning, Dr. Keller.
Good morning, Dr. Brooks.
We're very happy that you've taken literally from your busy schedule to be with us on Community Focus. As you know, Lake County is approximately 750,000 people. But I don't know how many up at 5 o'clock this Sunday morning listen to the program. But I understand we have a pretty good audience. The word gets around, and people are up getting ready for church and doing other things. But
sure.
We heard a lot about it. We see a lot of advertisement about State Career College, and we're going to have you, the Director of Education. So we're going to have you tell us what we should know about State Career College. First of all, give us a little bit about your personal and professional background, because you are MD, and when I say Dr. Keller, Director of Education, people may be thinking about a PhD. But tell us about your MD and how you switched over to education.
I became an MD actually quite a while ago. I practiced medicine for 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Much of it here in Lake County. I did emergency medicine, HIV primary care, general practice, and also worked at the Health Reach Clinic.
Okay.
But, always my second choice in career was wanting to teach. And so I got to a point where, I'd practiced for 30 years in medicine, and it was, time for a change. So.
Okay.
I started teaching, and the opportunity came at State Career College to do some teaching there and use all of my experience to be able to, teach students about healthcare. And we teach primarily medical assisting students, basic nursing assistant students. And I can use my background, my experience in teaching them the theory of practice, but also I can teach them, about real-world practice of medicine.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Give us a little background about State Career College.
All right, State Career College is it's a small college in Waukegan, but we like it small. We've been around since 2007. I've been with them for the last few years as an instructor, became the Director of Education this last summer. Okay. We, as I say, like the fact that we are small because we can give our students individual attention. We can really help them out and help them through their education and make sure that they really are the best, medical assistants and basic nursing assistants that we can possibly get out into the community and practicing. We are located on Grand Avenue in an interesting purple building, but really we draw from a wide range of students. We get some that are coming straight out of high school, mm-hmm. but we also have a fair number of students that this is their second or maybe even third career. People deciding that they want to change, and there's nothing wrong with changing your career, and so we cater to both ends of that spectrum.
This is fantastic. Well, how do you market the college?
Well, certainly, as is true of I think all marketing, most of it is word of mouth. Mm-hmm. We have some videos on YouTube. We certainly do have our website. But, we also work with the folks down at the Job Center, the Lake County Job Center, and we do some marketing through the schools, job fairs, really just anything that can get our name out there.
Oh, okay. Now, your primary, I should say not primary, but the most populous of the students that graduated in what fields?
Medical assistants. Medical assistants are individuals that work in doctors' offices primarily. They're replacing the nurses in doctors' offices. So if you've been to a doctor lately, chances are you had a medical assistant taking care of you. They can do, vital signs, blood pressure, pulse, temperature. But we train them to do electrocardiograms, heart tracings. We train them to do blood draws, phlebotomy, so that they can, get these specimens that are needed for tests. We also train them to do injections, immunizations, antibiotics, any of those sort of things. So it's a fairly wide-ranging career, but it's one that's really, really growing these days because it is cost-effective. That's a nice way to say it, I think.
It's because of shortage of nurses, too?
Pardon me?
Is it because of shortage of nurses also?
It really started to grow with the shortage of nurses and is really filling a niche in our healthcare field by, providing the exact right fit skills that a doctor needs for their assistant in their medical office. We're really meeting a need. And just a huge projected growth potential on into the future.
It sounds like another field that's, it may start in the 70s, I guess, a physician's assistant.
It's a little bit like that, although the physician's assistant can do a little bit more in that they can do some diagnosing and treatment things that are not available to medical assisting. But certainly, just as a physician assistant was a physician extender, the medical assistant is a nurse or nursing extender and filling a need so that we can improve access to health care by making these individuals available to do the needed tasks.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, we're talking with Dr. Richard Keller, Director of Education, State Career College in Waukegan, Illinois. Dr. Keller, what would be the most rewarding thing about being a teacher?
It really is neat. Boy, that dates me, doesn't it, when I say something like that? But when a student really, really, gets what we're teaching them, and you see that light come on, both with the academic learning of anatomy and physiology, but also with the skills that we teach the students. So it's really being able to do that. The other thing that really of late, I was just kind of talking with a student recently that had been in a school elsewhere, and she was struggling. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, she was failing out of another school, a well-thought-of and very good school in the area. But she was able to come to our school and restart the program, and she has now been and in our honor roll 5 out of the last 6 modules. We break our education into pieces like that. But she has been on our honor roll. She went from a failing student at a larger institution to becoming an honor roll student in our program. And it's really awesome and really feels good to be able to help somebody along who really, really wanted to get into the career but was struggling, and we were able to give them, that extra assistance and attention that has made her a real success in her education. Wow.
This is, now, John Dewey has a motto: if we teach today as we taught yesterday, we rob our children of tomorrow. You go along with that statement.
Oh, yeah, I certainly do. The way that we have the curriculum set up here is quite different than the way that most do it. Mm-hmm. We instead of having them sit down and go through a large block of time where they're learning, anatomy, the structure of the body, and physiology, how the body works, we break that up into pieces and mix it in with skills training and education. That way, it's, while they do still have the lecture, they do have a lot of hands-on activities and similar types of things all the way through their education. That's why we've broken it up into modules instead of having semesters or quarters or trimesters or anything. We've broken it up into 5-week chunks. And it really, I think, works a lot better for them. And as I say, it's different than the way most people do it, in that, they're able to master things in smaller chunks, get rewarded for that mastery much more quickly and much more often. And I think that all of that really feeds into the success that we have with our students. So yeah, it is a different way of doing it. We haven't gone to a lot of the video stuff that you see, in some schools and education programs, because we also feel that they really need that hands-on nurturing and assistance. Some of that interaction, personal interaction with the instructors, with the other students that you really don't get from, a video-based online education.
Tell us about the academic requirements to enroll at State Career College. They're
actually relatively minimal. We require that the students have a GED or a diploma from high school. We don't have, a lot of prerequisites that may be required elsewhere. We do have, for our basic nursing assistants, we do give them a small math test, but but it is small and not overwhelming. We also do a personal interview. And, as I was saying earlier, we get students at, all points in their career, whether they're just starting out or they have had, previous careers that they are wanting to change, or actually in this, the way things have been going lately, some of the companies that have closed here in the Waukegan area, we have accepted some of those individuals and have trained them for a new career. So that also is kind of a target that we have, as far as pulling in students. But, at base, we also really do tend to target low-income students. Our tuition tends to be one of the lowest in the areas. Students that may not necessarily do well and or do well as far as getting into other institutions. But we turn out a student who is high quality, high caliber. We have nothing but incredibly positive feedback from the employers in the area that are employing our students after graduation. It's these people go out with, say, Career College name on them, but, also my name. So I feel a personal impetus to really make sure that they're the best that they can be.
Just about, this question was going to be coming up from me, though, cultural diversity among your staff and students.
Sure. It has always been something that I have been involved in, here in the community over the years, whether it was with my medical practice or otherwise. But we do indeed have a very diverse student population. And, most of our students are what would be considered minority students, whether African American or Hispanic. And our staff is also very diverse in that it has minority individuals, shall we say?
Wow.
We take great pride in that too. These are the students that really need to be reached and are often reached over or passed over by other programs. But this is the individual that we really want to pull in because, they reflect the community.
Yeah.
To get them into healthcare positions is going to make it better for any, diversity problems that there may be in the medical office. They can talk to the people at the people's level and explain things and educate them and get them involved in their own health care where, somebody who did not share their cultural and or ethnic and or socioeconomic background may not be able to quite as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, are there scholarships available for students to apply for?
We do have some of those. We also work, quite well with the students to get them as needed into Pell Grant programs and or student loans, along with the scholarships. On the other hand, not trying to overburden them, but making sure that they're going to be able to pay these things back without huge burdens that some of the schools out there put their students through. We really help them. We do have a dedicated financial aid staff member who works with them, knows all of the ins and outs and the possibility of various scholarships and grants that might be available out there.
You mentioned a key point there because we have so many students nationwide. When they finish college, they spend almost a lifetime paying back the loan.
Yes. Well, it even took me 20 years, but to pay back my student loans. But by focusing our education down, this question actually came up at a staff meeting that we had recently, and truly training the students for a career and at the same time not overcharging, not throwing them through extra classes that they don't really need. Ultimately to, practice in their chosen field through their program here. We keep the costs at a minimum and our help at a maximum, if you will. But, we also have a dedicated individual to help them with job placement. And we have been very, very successful with that. We work with some of the larger employers in the area. All of our students go through what's called an externship towards the end of their education, in which they actually work in practice situations. By doing that, which, again, not all programs do, our students come out with some experience in actually working as a medical assistant, which better prepares them to be able to get a job as soon as they graduate. As a matter of fact, lately, because we've been working with some of the larger players in the healthcare field locally, whether it's North Shore University Healthcare Systems or Vista Health or Lake County Health Department. A lot of our students do externships there and immediately prove themselves to those employers and a huge percentage lately have been offered positions straight out of their externship, which really doesn't necessarily happen, but certainly demonstrates. I mean, it doesn't happen elsewhere. Happens all the time here. But it demonstrates how quality our education is, that, they learn what they need, both, the hard skills, if you will, but also the soft skills, how to get along in a medical office and actually get the job done. And so by working with those large employers, our placement rate and therefore the students' ability to pay back their loans as quickly as possible is really maximized.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, we've been talking with the Richard Keller. Dr. Keller is the Director of Education at State Career College in Waukegan. And by the way, Dr. Keller, you're located, what is the address in Waukegan?
The address is 2770 Grand Avenue, and we're just east of Green Bay Road.
Okay.
In a purple building. Our telephone number, if anybody wants that's 847-693-3838. And they can also go to our website, statecareercollege.edu, and check us out.
And they can make appointments for an open house. You'll be happy to give them a tour.
They can drop by most any time, and we will get them a tour through the college. This
is fantastic. And listen to you. You do a lot of practical work. It's not just a regular traditional teaching that most students get in college.
Most definitely, yeah. We get them a lot of hands-on. Whether it's practicing drawing blood and giving injections to each other during class, through their externship, where they're actually getting the ability to work on real-life patients, as we say.
By the way, your funding is that state college, so it's funding through the state? Is there?
No, it's not. It's not state funding. It's just that just happens to be our name. But
okay.
Our funding is through tuition. We do have some investors as well, but most of it is our students and our ability to deliver a great educational package to them.
Okay, so were you a private or public institution? I guess you sound like you're private.
We are a private institution, and despite the fact that some of those have gotten a bad name lately,
okay,
by staying small, I think that we overcome some of the not exactly great practices that you see with some of the other private institutions.
Okay. Well, what do you do for leisure time activities? Look like you stay pretty busy.
I wish I had some. Leisure time. I certainly I'm a passionate reader, and spend time with my family, my wife, and youngest daughter who still lives with us. We certainly like to spend some time together. My eldest daughter, who now is in Nebraska, don't see her quite as often, but
okay.
Family activities really fill up my time.
Fantastic. Well, we want to thank you very much for taking time for your busy schedule again to be with us on Community Focus. And this is not the only time that I've invited you. You were invited and you participated well in a Health Disparities Among Minorities forum that we had at the Advocate Condell Medical Center on, I guess that was October the 10th. And tell us about the need for health disparities among minorities.
Unfortunately, and for a number of reasons, minority populations in our country tend to have worse health. At least a large chunk of it, particularly historically, has been access to care. They've just not been able to get in and get the care that they need. And then, a lot of it as well is that there's not necessarily an understanding in healthcare of the impact of our society, the impact of our economics, and our impact of our culture on health. And if you don't approach people, from a position that makes sense to them, you can't convince them to really get into proper health behaviors that augment and really make healthcare effective. You can hand somebody a prescription and say, "Here, take this," but if they can't afford it, they're not going to be able to take it. Right. So, the healthcare needs to be impacted as well. Yeah, certainly there are some genetics involved, but as I teach, our genes, our genetics, they may load the gun as far as getting disease, but it's our health behaviors that really pull the trigger, and it is those health behaviors that we can really make some difference from. If we have more healthcare providers who are more familiar with the specific needs and the more appropriate way to address those needs in our minority community, we can really address those disparities in healthcare.
Fantastic. Now, so as our listening audience understands, State Career College, you say your primary fields are medical fields, right? The medical assistant and so forth.
Correct.
Which there's a dire need, and maybe nationwide, but especially in Lake County with the number of health care facilities in Lake County. I'm sure there's a dire need. Once a person finishes the school, the college there, that your employment placement should be very high.
Yeah, over the last few months, our placement has been about 90%.
Wow.
As far as getting them jobs.
Yes.
And, that other 10% are people that, maybe they made a decision that they're going to wait off for a little while. We've had a couple of them that do that. So, yeah, the need is huge and growing. You see health facilities popping up now almost on every corner, I think. Mm-hmm. But, it speaks to the need for access that's out there. And so, that is good. And we can participate and help in that growth and help meet that need for providers.
And that federal Affordable Health Care Act has been so beneficial nationwide also, right?
Oh, most definitely. The number of people that have been insured, I worked with uninsured individuals for years. And, it was a huge improvement to allow people to have access to health coverage, whether it's expansion of Medicaid or the subsidies that have made it much more affordable. There have been other attempts to increase the availability of affordable health care, but certainly the Affordable Care Act has lived up to its name over the last few years and have really made access affordable to so many people. Granted, there's still a few that don't have access, but for the most part, it has been just a phenomenal change.
Dr. Keller, I want to thank you very much for taking time again for being on Community Focus this morning, and I'm sure our listening audience has been benefited, and I will look forward to a part 2 in the near future. So thank you very much.
You bet.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Community Focus. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks Sr., your host.